Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of my podcast. If you're new here, welcome. If you've been coming back, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I also really appreciate the ratings I've gotten lately on iTunes. Apple Podcast. I got probably, I think like 3 more star ratings, which was really exciting because it's been quite a while and I had recently asked again, just help me out here. It's really important and it is so hard to grow a podcast. At least for me it is. I'm really trying to grow this show and not, I don't have any money to spend on advertising and things like that. And I don't even know how that works. So I'm just trying to grow it organically. And basically the only thing I am able to, ask for help with is with those ratings and reviews. So thank you so much for whoever it was that recently left those. And if you haven't and you have a minute and you enjoy the show, if you could please rate and review the podcast. It just really helps with getting the podcast shown to more people that search for something like this so that I don't kind of get buried down in the search results. But anyway, I just wanted to say thank you and then ask again, of course, if you can possibly help me out with that. So anyway, I planned on doing a different topic today, which I'm gonna do next week, but I didn't get to finish doing my research that I really wanted to do. I wanted to have some better notes on what I wanted to talk about, but it's just been a really busy week and I feel like I keep saying that and I hate to be like that, but it's been busy since the fall started and back to school, and one of my daughters just started a new job and there's just been a whole lot going on. So what I was thinking about is, instead of doing the topic that I was planning on doing today, which was related to your kind of figuring out your budget style, like what works best for you with budgeting, I'm going to do that next week. But today what I was thinking, since I was struggling with keeping up and getting all my things done this week, I was thinking about how we can still just usually do a little bit. For example, I'm doing this right now. I wasn't able to finish my notes and get everything written down that I really wanted to make sure I talked about regarding the budget style episode. But I was able to just come and record an episode and talk about getting a little bit done and not giving up on the things we're trying to work on. So like, for example, and this, I don't know, hopefully this is going to make sense to you, but because it's kind of all tied in, like getting little bits of things done and also not giving up on the things that you're trying to do or changes you're trying to make in your life. So I was listening to a podcast. I'm always referencing podcasts that I was listening to, and a lot of times I can't remember which one it was because I listen to so many podcasts. But she was talking about you can always start over like the next minute. It might have been the Clutterbug podcast. I feel like it might have been her. But I just thought it was such a great thing to think about, because I feel like for many of us, we will try and make changes or try and work on goals and think if we didn't do it right or we failed on it for a little, like we failed a little bit, then we just give up. Like a good example might be saying, okay, I'm gonna try and eat really healthy today. And lunchtime comes and you're just like starving, and maybe you eat a lot more junk food or snacks than you maybe wanted to eat or whatever. And you're like, oh well, I'm done. And then you just give up on eating the healthy foods that you wanted to eat. 'Cause you're like, well, I messed it up already, so what's the point now? What am I going to do? Oh, well, I messed up. That's over with. No, it doesn't have to be over with. Just because you made a mistake or, you know, you didn't do the thing that you wanted to do perfectly, it doesn't mean that you need to wait till tomorrow or wait till next week or wait till the new year to start that goal over again. You can start the next second. Like the second you ate like those too many I don't know, brownies or something with lunch that you didn't want to have. Maybe you just wanted to have like a taste of one and you wound up having a bunch of them, and then you're like, oh man, that was totally not like how I wanted to eat today. So start fresh, like right that second. Like the second you make the decision that you had wished you didn't make, you can restart over right now. It's the same thing with your finances. If you think I'm going to do really great this week, I want to try and do like a no spend week, or like do really minimal spending. I'm not going to, go and hit up the Starbucks or like pick up lunch out when I wasn't planning on it, or whatever it is that you're trying to do. And then you drive through the Starbucks because you're just like, I really feel like having this drink or whatever. And you get it. So it's not like, oh, well, I didn't stick with that, so now I'll just spend all the money that I want this week because I'm over budget anyway, so what's the point? No, like as soon as you make that purchase, you can say, okay, well, that wasn't a great choice because I really promised myself that I didn't want to do that this week. So let's stop right now. Like from here on in, I'm going to not make those extra purchases. I'm going to try really hard. And if you do make another purchase after that, again, you can still restart immediately. As soon as you made the mistake, you can restart again. And it's kind of just all part of that, like kind of tackling things a little at a time and not saying it has to be perfect or it's nothing. It's not like, okay, I messed up, so throw that out the window and I'm not going to work on that goal anymore. Or like today, like I said with this podcast, I had this idea. I really wanted to talk about these different budgeting methods because I think that there's people sometimes give up on budgeting because they don't find a way that works for them. And there's so many different ways to manage money. And I really was excited to do this episode, and I just had a week that I couldn't finish it. So I could have just said like, oh, well, I'm going to just kind of not finish that, or maybe just not do an episode, or maybe just kind of talk about a couple little things that I wanted to do. But instead I'm like, no, I'll continue to work on that. I'll get some work more done on it today, and I'll have the rest finished for next week. And to keep moving on my goal, which for this podcast is to have an episode every single Monday, I'm going to do something else that's been on my mind, which is keeping progress. So progress doesn't have to be everything. It can be a little bit. It can be, I really would like to get some cleaning done today, but I literally have 10 minutes. What can I do? Oh, I can clean out the utensil drawer, or I can wipe down the top shelf of the fridge. Just thinking of what you can do to keep moving forward without saying to yourself, I can't do this because one, I messed up, or two, I just don't have the time. I don't have the time to do it completely perfect as I would like to do it, so I'm just not going to do it at all. It's like when I talk about sometimes with like cleaning and keeping up with my cleaning routines, that's somewhere that I struggle. I often run out of time to do the cleaning in the way that I would like to do it. So sometimes I'll be like, well, I don't know, should I really get the bathroom done now? Because I just really don't have the time. And I really want to be able to scrub the floor and make sure like the shower is not the bathtub, like the shower is scrubbed, like the whole thing, take everything out, put everything back, whatever. So am I better off just saying, I'm not going to do the bathroom today because I just don't have the time to do like this perfectly thorough job that I want to do? Or am I better saying, well, I don't have time to scrub the shower today, but I can at least wipe down the sink and clean the toilet, and then the bathroom looks nice. So just kind of rethinking what you're able to do and what you can do going forward that will help make it just a little bit better for you, and not feeling like it always has to be this perfect thing. Like if I can't do the job perfectly, then I'm not going to do it. If I mess up on my spending, if I mess up on the healthy eating I wanted to do, if I mess up on getting these podcast notes completed this week, what am I going to do? Am I just going to say, oh, well, I messed up, and then just put that in the past and say, oh, well, that didn't work? Or am I going to try and see what can I do and what can I do moving forward that's in alignment with what choices I'm trying to make? It's kind of like the reason that I don't like doing streaks too. I used to, at one point I got this app and I was recording streaks. Like, you'd have certain things that you wanted to do every day, and you would check it off every time you did it, and it would tell you like how many days the streak was going on for. And I was super excited about it at first, and it works really well for some people. Like some people, the streaks is really great for them. And they're fine if they miss a day because they're like, well, most days I did it. So like, I just want to, I'm just going to keep going and trying to do these every day. But what would happen with me is when I would do the streak for quite a long time and then I would miss a day, I'd be like, oh, well, the streak's over. So I guess like, what's kind of the point? And it wasn't even like I like literally said that to myself. I just kind of lost the motivation because the streak was over and now there was nothing to like really continue to keep me going. So I feel like the streak was kind of like that all or nothing, like you have to keep it going every single day or you lose the streak. So to me, it was better to try and focus on doing things on a daily basis or as much as I can, but without tracking that I was actually doing it every day, because then when I got to those times where I couldn't finish it, I felt like, oh, well, I failed, move on. So we have to really try and get away from that mindset of feeling like if we messed up, it's like, oh, well, might as well just kind of continue with this behavior that is not in alignment with what we really want to do. So I loved that when she said, I'm pretty sure it was the Clutter Bug podcast. I loved it when she said, you can always start the very next second. You don't have to wait till tomorrow. You don't have to wait till Monday. You don't have to wait till next year. The second you do something that wasn't what you had planned or what you had wanted to do or against some goal that you were trying to work on, you can always start the very next second. You don't have to say you throw it all out the window. And then at the same time, with other things that you are working on and are doing and you're just running out of time, you don't have to do it all. You can do a little piece. Or what can you do instead that will still give you that feeling of accomplishment towards what it is that you're trying to work on. So maybe just kind of try and think about that throughout your day and see, like, is there anything that you would like to do a little bit of progress on, or something that you feel like you've given up on because you messed up once or a couple times and then just said, oh, well, that didn't work for me. Start again, try again. You can always start again. The second you make the mistake, you can start immediately again, fresh. So I hope this was helpful and motivating to you. It's just something that's been on my mind a lot, just with trying to keep myself going on different things, especially in a busy time. So hopefully this might be relatable to you, and maybe it can help you kind of move forward with some things that you'd like to make progress on in your life. So that's it for this week. I thank you so much for listening, and I will see you here again next week. So thank you for checking in for this podcast episode. And don't forget, you can always email me with any questions or suggestions at lolasfrugallife@gmail.com. You can follow me on Instagram and Facebook at lolasfrugallife. And you can find a blog post for most of my episodes and definitely all of my meal plan episodes at lolasfrugallife.com. You can also join our private listeners group at facebook.com/groups/lolasfrugallife. And if you enjoy the show, please make sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen from. And I would love it if you would screenshot the show and tag me on Instagram so I could see you're listening. Also, if you can please take a couple of seconds to rate and review the podcast. Those ratings and reviews are what help the show come up better in search results so that other people can find this podcast. So that will really help me in growing my audience. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you have an awesome day.